Hi, and welcome along to AFTV. The breaking news is that the medical has been passed by Jorginho. The medical to join Arsenal. Obviously, you've got to do your medical first to see what state you are in, no injuries, etc. That has been passed, and we are fully expecting at some time today an announcement to be made that Jorginho, formerly of Chelsea, will be joining Arsenal Football Club. The deal has practically been done. We just await now the announcement. I'm sure now they're doing all the promotional pictures, giving him his shirt, all that sort of stuff, because all of the terms have been agreed between Arsenal and Chelsea. Personal terms have been agreed with the player, and the medical has been completed. All we await now is the official announcement for Jorginho becoming a new Arsenal player. He signed a deal until June 2024, effectively an 18-month deal with an option to extend that until 2025. The deal will cost Arsenal £10 million plus £2 million in add-ons. That's if certain criteria is met. And Jorginho is joining Arsenal Football Club. We spoke about it this morning on the Transfer Daily, and you know my views on it if you watch the show. It's a real mixed one, because there are some people saying, that they're not happy with this deal. We shouldn't have got Jorginho. For me, it makes perfect sense. I just look on it and I say to myself, he's experienced at the age of 31. He's won Champions League. He's won the Europa League. He's, played in the Premier League week in, week out now for a number of seasons. So be able to hit the ground running. He's got a good passing range. He's not Thomas Partey, but we're not going to get another Thomas Partey right now. We wanted Moises Caicedo. Yes, that would have been the sexy signing, but Moises Caicedo is not for sale. Although there are rumours going around actually at the moment that, Caicedo's in London and, the deal may not be dead. From what I'm hearing at the moment, the deal is dead. Brighton do not want to do the deal. So we've turned to Jorginho. And for me, we need somebody in that position. We cannot afford to be in the same situation that we were in last January, remember, when we didn't sign a midfielder. We all know what happened to Thomas Partey, and we all know what happened. Excuse me. We missed out on the Premier League, on the top four by 1 point. We cannot afford to make that happen again. So Jorginho is going to be coming through the door, and I think it's a sensible signing by Arsenal. But what do you guys think? Orange says, I wonder how he'll get along with Xhaka. I don't know about this one. Apparently, I was looking at David Ornstein, and he was saying that he's been told that the signing of Jorginho has been very well received within the Arsenal camp. That the players are very happy with his signing and think it's going to be a good one. So that would intimate that, it's going to be fine. Don Robbie Defstairs says, how many times are we going to be proven wrong by Arteta and co before we realise they know more than us? If he cuts out the mistakes in a possession team, he'll be great. Short contract, nothing ruined. And I look on that as well. It's it's not a long term. We haven't signed him for 8 years like what Chelsea would do. All right, until he's 40 or something like that. Right, we've signed him on an 18-month deal. That means effectively, probably after a year, if he's not really cutting it, they'll look to move him on. If he is cutting it, they can extend it by a year. He's not going to be the guy that starts week in, week out. We know that's going to be Thomas Partey. But for me, it's great cover. It's great cover. I just think it makes perfect sense. But, not all of you are in agreement. Dinaz Man says, Czech, Willian, David Luiz, and now him. More upset player coming through the door. He's not happy with it. Listen, you are right. We've named out a few players there that we've got from Chelsea, older players that haven't worked out. So I get it. Lee Bowley says Chelsea fans are over the moon with this deal. They claim he's another El Neni, backwards, sideways, no forward passing. I think he's a better player than El Neni. I think he's a better player than Sambi Lokonga. We are lacking a midfielder right now. He's available. Premier League proven. Why not? Look at Manchester United at the moment. You know what I mean? They've just got an injury. And remember the context to a lot of this as well. Mohamed El Neni he's out possibly until the end of the season. Arsenal even putting it on their website today. He's had to undergo surgery. He's out. You bring in Jorginho. That's cover for Thomas Partey. Manchester United at the moment got similar problems. Christian Eriksen is going to be out from until April. They are now rushing around in the transfer window trying to get a replacement. I think they're looking at Marcel Sabitzer at Bayern Munich. This guy is here. He plays in the Premier League. Premier League ready, for me, makes perfect sense. Ryan Ant says, Jorginho for 1 year is good business. Xhaka was once error-prone. Now look, Arteta will turn him into a baller within our system. Trust the manager, he says. Pratic says, why did we not go for Yves Bissouma? Probably because he's on a long-term contract at Tottenham Hotspur. That's why we didn't go for Bissouma. You can only go for a player that is available. And he's not available, some of these players that you're talking about. DC Chan says, agree, Robbie. We need to sign someone. Let's bring in Tielemans. Shout. But Tielemans is not a defensive midfielder. He can be quite a deep line midfielder. He can play in that position. He's more of a box-to-box midfielder. Yuri Tielemans is not a defensive midfielder. Jorginho is. Fardam with Super Chat, he says, Robbie, why Arsenal signed Jorginho? I still remember Edu once said that Arsenal are not going to sign players above 26. He does not fit the profile. As a long-term target, yeah, I agree with you. But look at where we are now. We're top of the league. We're short in midfield, in that defensive midfield area, right? You saw it as soon as Partey came off on Friday night. We're short in that area. We're pushing on to try and win the league. This signing to me makes sense. That's why they've gone in for a 31-year-old. I'm sure they would have preferred to probably take him on loan from now till the end of the season, but that's not available. They've taken him on a short-term contract, 18-month contract. It just makes perfect sense to me. He's not your sexy signing, you know what I mean? He's not your Moises Caicedo, which would have been a brilliant signing at the age of 21. I get it. He's not that player. But we've got a problem right now. And our problem is we're short in the defensive midfield area and he's good cover. That's my opinion on it. I know I was arguing with Cecil earlier, and we're going to be on later on talking all transfers. We'll be going to be doing a live show later on where we're going to give you guys a chance to come on live as well and have your say. And I know Cecil is not happy with his signing. He's against it, right? But I am putting forward my case that I am happy with this signing. I would have loved Moises Caicedo as well. Moises Caicedo would have been my perfect signing to come in, right? But it's not available. And as I said earlier on, it's like when you go to buy a car or you go to buy a house and it's your dream car and your dream house. What do you do if it's not for sale? Got to go for a plan B. And right now, time is ticking and we need a plan B, and this is the plan B. Pratic says, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry. I was saying that we should have gone for Yves Bissouma in the last transfer period. Okay, sorry about that. I thought you were just saying go for Yves Bissouma now. He says, I'm happy with Jorginho. The Yves would have been better and we could have gone further in the Carling and FA Cup. AK Dash says, thoughts on Sabitzer? Well, I don't really care if he's got to Man United. A few years ago, actually, I was saying that, Marcel Sabitzer, that was before he went to Bayern Munich. I was saying that was an option maybe for Arsenal in the midfield. But he's gone to Bayern Munich and he hasn't really hit it off at all. So I think Jorginho would be a better signing because he's played in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. And right now, this January, we need someone that if you turn around to them and say, we need you to start on Saturday, they can start on Saturday. They haven't got to get used to things. They haven't got to say, they ain't got to turn around to their teammate and say, well, I've never played at Goodison Park before. What's it going to be like? We want someone who's going to come straight in, and that's why I think he fits the bill. Caleb says he is rich when he comes to experience, and he's a good sign-in in the short term. Miles Smith says, we needed cover for European competitions. Who better than to bring in a player that's won every European competition? Excellent business by Arsenal. He was in the Italian national team that won the Euros. An integral part of that. I mean, and remember the style of football they played, which was a real position style of play. Possession style of play, should I say, Antonio 1993 says people say Jorginho doesn't have the legs. People forget that we have Zinchenko, who comes into the midfield that can support Jorginho. Arteta is a tactician. Trust. Edu just can't do the big deal, says Recoke74. Well, again, I disagree on that. Because, Jesus was a big deal. I get what you're saying because, Martinez, Lisandro Martinez, we didn't get that one done, but we got Zinchenko done. We didn't get the deal done for Mudryk, but now, we see why we wasn't able to do that deal for Mudryk, when, you got Chelsea offering him an 8.5-year contract. So, Abdullah here says we should have gone for Amrabat, top quality 25-year-old, £40 million. Amrabat, I see today, Barcelona showing an interest in a possible loan deal for him, but they don't want the option to buy. You know what I think it could be, Abdullah, yeah? And this is my theory, which we will not know until the summer. I personally feel that Arsenal in the summer are going to try and go back in for Moises Caicedo or Declan Rice. One of those two. They're going to go big, especially if we were, inshallah, to win the league, right? They will go for one of those. That's where their big money is going to go. If you go big now and you go and buy Amrabat and he's not really your number one target, then you're not going to be able to go back in again in the summer for what your number one target is. So that's why I feel they've done it. And then I also look on it and they say, Amrabat, if it was someone like an Amrabat, he's been playing over in Serie A, going to have to get used to the Premier League. We need someone now. Look how Trossard's just been able to just bang, come in, just looks seamless, that's because he's been playing in the Premier League for the past couple of years. So I think it makes sense on that part. Wadali J says he's good right now, also saving for the summer. AT Football says some fans panic because we have a chance of the title, but another great window. Jorginho provides backup, and we go for Rice plus other top targets in the summer. Jihad Bra says as long as Jorginho does a job when called on, and we win the league, I will be a happy camper. You set the bar high there, bro. And that's what we need. That's what we need. Let me ask you a question. Who's better, Jorginho or Sambi Lokonga? Jorginho or Mohamed El Neni? Answer that question for me. Take a moment. Tyson Trading says, breaking news with the super chat. He says, Chelsea tried to outbid Arsenal, but realises their own player. Fabrizio Boom. I like that one. Well done, Tyson Trading. I like that. Chelsea have gone absolutely mad in this transfer window. Will it come back to bite them one day, though? You got loads of players on these really long contracts. I mean, their strategy is never been seen before. Never been seen before. AT Football says, what time approximately will you be letting fans on live? Probably around about 6 o'clock, I feel we'll be doing that live show where we, round about those sort of times. Gunner Station says Jorginho is better than El Neni and Lokonga. Exactly. It's my opinion. And I love El Neni. But I'm sorry, he's not in the same league, I feel, as a Jorginho. Baked Potato says some of our fans think they're playing FIFA Ultimate Team. Arteta and Edu have taken us to this point. Either you trust them or you don't. Baldur says Arteta turned Xhaka into one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Fans wanted to sell him. Jorginho is a stopgap signing. Brighton didn't want to sell. By the way, Sam says Robbie is a clown. So he's not happy. There are there's some fans there. Arsenal puppet, says Jordan L. Right? No, got nothing to do. Me and Arsenal puppet. Listen, I'm giving you my opinion. In my opinion, I was at football training last night, and me and a friend of mine, he's a Liverpool fan, was talking about it, and he goes, Robbie, what do you reckon, Jorginho? And you can't go and ask him because you don't know him. But I said to him then, I want Caicedo, but if we can't get him and we get Jorginho, I'll be happy with that signing. For now, I said, as long as it's not a long-term deal, I'll be happy with that signing. And I stick to that. I stick to that today. Makes sense. You've got to be realistic in the January transfer window. Go and look at the interview that I did yesterday with Dr. Erkut Sogut, who's Mesut Ozil's agent, and we discussed how difficult it is to do deals in January. Go and have a look at that. Right? Jorginho is the next Danny Ceballos, says Fardham. We wait and see. Robbie, what about Tielemans, says Craig Bent. I think if there's going to be anything on Tielemans now, it's going to be the end of the season. I don't think there's going to be nothing happening with Yuri Tielemans now. But apparently as well, Leicester don't want to sell or don't want to let him go right now because obviously, they're still not safe, are they? They still could be sort of drawn into a bit of a relegation battle. So they need to keep all of their best players. But you never know. Come the summer, I would like to see Tielemans come in on a free. I think that would make perfect sense. Louise was a good signing, says Luke. Louise weren't terrible. I thought at first he was a bit, but he weren't too bad after that. But listen, let's hope Jorginho's better. Jorginho will only play on a Thursday, say Theo Green. But if you've got that option to play him, listen, he's not Thomas Partey. He ain't starting. Thomas Partey's starting. He's the backup. And that's great backup. Demetrius says everything is always for sale for those who are willing to overpay. Well, is it? Brighton said he's not for sale. All right, you could have gone in. Would you be happy, right, if Arsenal would have went and said, all right, we'll give you 300 million for Moises Caicedo, mess up all our FFP, do all our budget for the summer just to get Caicedo? Would you be happy with that? I know you wouldn't be. Dano Jr. with another super chat. How do fans still bash Arteta's decision like this? This guy has made all of our Arsenal fans eat our words. Way more good signing than bad and still waffle. John Ramon says Jorginho has a winning mentality like Zinchenko. Tahir Khan says, Don Robbie, it's true that Chelsea are spending millions you raise for them with your Save the Bridge campaign. Laugh out. They got about 10 pence for that, right? Nobody wanted to save it. Would we still get Caicedo, says the bearded gooner? I don't think so. Listen, I've heard a rumour that that could still happen today. I really doubt that rumour. I really, really doubt it. He's in London. I don't think Brighton want to sell him. I'd love if I'm wrong. But from all of what we've been told, they do not want to sell. But I do think we'll go back in for him in the summer. It could be a thing that Arsenal are saying to themselves, as I said, let's not excuse me, upset these guys because we're going to have to do business with them in the future. And I do think Declan Rice is going to be a target for Arsenal come the summer, and we'll be a more attractive proposition. We'll have, hopefully, Champions League football. We could be the league title winners, you know, and that will make us more attractive, you know. But for now, we need to try and see if we can get the job done, and for that, we need backup. Jonathan T says, one word, sensible. Zeus 7 says, Bellingham instead of Declan Rice this summer. Getting real greedy now, but I wouldn't be against that. Gent Frank Kessie says, Youssef. Apparently, Barcelona said not for sale in this window. Bonnie Bone Love says, Jorginho is a good signing for the money. He can help us to win the league. We're always Chelsea's retirement home, says Flopping Clan. Abdullah with a super chat, he says, don't think we'll get Caicedo and Rice this summer. I'd honestly go for Caicedo, to be honest. I like Rice, but I think he's overrated and isn't worth 120 to 150 million. I don't think it'll cost that much this summer. I think it'll be probably about 80 million. Wrapped Up says, have you heard of a prospect of Alex? I don't know if you guys are trying to banter me here. From Porto? I haven't, no. Robbie Lajima says, Jorginho can't break the lines, lacks any kind of pace. I don't see any sense in this signing. Amrabat would have been a better choice. Danny says, we need Caicedo now. We are playing for the title right now, not this summer. And I think Jorginho comes in and adds good cover for that title. Dr. Viraj, big up. He says, if we're really willing to spend 70 million on a midfielder, why didn't we try to go for Ruben Neves of Wolves? He's at a good age, much mobile in the midfield as compared to Jorginho. Because, Dr. Viraj, and I always respect your opinions, there is absolutely no way Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are in a relegation fight, are going to sell their best player. It's not worth it. The amount of money it will cost if you get relegated, the damage that it could do to your club for the next few years. Because remember, a lot of clubs who get relegated don't bounce straight back up. You know what I mean? You've only got to look around at many clubs that have gone down and see that they're still down there to know this for a fact, right? It is not worth the risk. They've got to try and stay up at all costs. Then maybe in the summer, you can try and go and get a Ruben Neves or somebody like that. But right now, in January, that is just unthinkable for Wolves to think about selling Ruben Neves unless they got a ridiculous amount of money for him, and it would have to be something like a 200-300 million, and he ain't worth that. So, it's just simply not going to happen. Killer Cure says, no El Neni, no Lokonga, only Jorginho to replace both. Why not Sanderberg too? I'm not too sure about Sanderberg. I mean, he's been playing in the Championship, looks decent player. But this guy, for me, he's Premier League ready. Ian Dutta says, Robbie Edu has constantly lacked management and marketing skills to get the top players over the line. How can you support Arsenal signing a Chelsea reject again after the past flops? Edu is failing. Edu is not failing. We're top of the league with Edu's signings. Chelsea may have made all these great signings. Where are they in the league right now? Where? How can you say he's failing? Zinchenko. Martinelli. All right, he didn't bring in Martinelli, but Zinchenko. Jesus. The decision to keep Eddie Nketiah. Saliba. How is that failing? What are you talking about? We're top of the league. All right, he hasn't been able to get some of those, Mudryk. He didn't get that over the line. I get that. Caicedo has not been able to get that over the line this January. I get that. We're top of the league, so his signings have been excellent. Ben White, who people had to go at, 50 million for Ben White. What is he doing? Look how good he's been. Aaron Ramsdale. What are we doing? Aaron Ramsdale. We don't even need a keeper. We got Leno. Look how good he's been. How can he be failing? What are you on about? No, I can't agree with what you're saying at all there. Super chat still piling in here. William says, much love, Don Robbie from Tampa. Signing Jorginho is a good move from us. Our style of play is good to fit him, similar to his Napoli days. Ferraz says, a year ago, people were arguing that Jorginho should have won the Ballon d'Or instead of Messi. Remember that? I remember that. Listen, I weren't too sure about him winning the Ballon d'Or, but remember that. Yeah, that's true. Maybe in a system that suits him better, he might be better. Nelly says, if we get Caicedo, brilliant. And Crystal Palace want Lokonga on loan. It does look like he'll be signing for Crystal Palace later on today. We'll keep you up to date with that one. Miles Smith says, Robbie, last season we waited until deadline day to find cover when desperately needed, and it cost us. This season we've strengthened where we needed. Arteta has learnt from his mistakes. I agree with you, Miles, on that. Josh Smith with a super chat. I don't see what you say, but thank you. Manny C90 says, hi, Robbie. Would you take Aaron Ramsey back on loan? No, I wouldn't really. No. Great player, legend at Arsenal, but no. Dano Jr. says, the reaction of Arsenal fans makes me hope you guys bottle it. And if fans bottle it and fans go at Arteta and he leaves after next season, this is where you shut up and let your manager and Edu continue overachieving. Marshall says, top of the league is not winning the league, Robbie. That is why fans are angry. Top of the league because of the sign. That guy said he's failing in the signings he's making. He's top of the league because we're top of the league because of those signings. They've been so influential and so good. Ray Eason says, I think people have to trust Arteta with his signing. As you mentioned before, great experience and much better backup than we have. It's mixed, and I love it. Listen, I love everybody having their opinions on it. But listen, let me just reiterate again, as what we listen, 8 hours left of this transfer. Well, just over 8 hours left of the transfer window. You can see the clock ticking there. Just to bring you guys up to date once again, and that is the fact that a medical has been passed. He's passed his medical, Jorginho. We are waiting for him to be announced a little later on today as an Arsenal player. We're waiting for all the pictures, etc. But Jorginho is going to be joining Arsenal on an 18-month deal with an option to extend for 1 year. Deal said to be around about £10 million with £2 million in add-ons. And Jorginho will be joining Arsenal. One last super chat here from Raji. He says, we couldn't get our plan A in January, so we went for plan B. Short-term deals help us with our title charge. A little uninspiring, but better than nothing. And Shabin says, Jorginho is a good signing. Firstly, Arteta has admired him since Man City days, and I'm sure he has a plan. Remember Pirlo at 31 leaving Milan. Comparing him to Pirlo, I mean, you're going a bit far there. Hussein says, yo, Robbie, you think Cavadona from Napoli would get a starting spot in our squad? I think he's on about that. Is that kid that's Fly? I pronounced it wrong, but yeah, he would. He's a brilliant player. And Marco says, 1st of January means nothing. This failed attempts reminds me of the year after the Europa League final. Chelsea investments took them to the Champions League final the year after. If Lokonga goes, we need a replacement. Well, for me, I'm sorry. The signing of Trossard, good signing. Kivior, cover centre-back on the left-hand side, good signing. And the signing of Jorginho, for me, again, under the circumstances, where we are, Mohamed El Neni out until the end of the season by the looks of it, as announced today, knee injury, going to be out long-term, has had to do surgery. For me, represents a good signing. John Ramon, what last super chat? Do you think Tielemans is an option since Sambi is leaving and El Neni is injured long-term? We have to have cover for Xhaka now. I don't know. Smith Rowe's coming back as well. Maybe I'm not sure if we need to get Tielemans. And Dragon says, do a poll on Jorginho. We will later on when we update you on the next stream. But thanks very much for watching. Of course, when that signing is announced, we will be going live right here, so look out for that. But thanks very much. 9,500 of you watching. Really, really thankful for that. But we'll see you, and we're keeping to update you throughout the day on all the signings. Thank you.